This is not about more money.
It's not about more money because the last time Trump had way less money and he won.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the most controversial and argumentative conversations on HBO's hot-button political talk show, Real Time with Bill Maher.
You always have to fight with everybody.
Number 10, Malcolm Nance versus Ben Shapiro, Season 19. Conservative commentator Ben Shapiro's 2018 debut on Real Time was a combative one-on-one interview. 3 years later, Bill Maher had to manage an even harsher debate on critical race theory with Shapiro and progressive pundit Malcolm Nance. Nance maintained that CRT simply teaches the history and legacy of racism in American society.
The Chinese Exclusion Acts of the 1840s. These are things we don't talk about.
Shapiro argued that its reforms in some schools lowered educational standards and promoted racial tension. He was baffled when Nance charged him with advocating the whitewash of racial topics entirely.
A lot of this stuff is taught in schools.
You mean like viruses?
As Nance began mocking Shapiro's show, Maher managed to democratically moderate each party's perspective and change the topic. The whole incident nonetheless illustrates CRT as a touchy subject, even in the most nuanced political debates.
So there are things that are being taught and are going around that I'm not for, that if that was critical race theory, I wouldn't be for.
Number 9, Ann Coulter on Immigration, Season 13. As open as right-wing pundit Ann Coulter is to debate on Real Time, her 2015 appearance was hardly civil. She was promoting her provocatively titled book Adios America when she described illegal immigration with questionable statistics. This upset Democratic Rep. Luis Gutierrez and MSNBC correspondent Joy Reid, both children of immigrants.
I would just say one thing. Worry about the 50 million Latinos in the United States of America that are here legally.
They passionately defended the economic value of migrants and the political potential of their descendants. Despite Coulter agreeing that Republican policy factored into immigration problems, it devolved into an ideological shouting match.
These are all people going to be on welfare soon. Yes, there are machines that can now pick strawberries.
No, you cannot
strawberries,
pick them.
tomatoes.
Maher had to assertively break it up, having more experience in keeping his cool with Coulter. This particularly awkward moment still wasn't enough to close his door to one of Real Time's most divisive and most recurring guests.
I'm against women working, so I can't.
Number 8, Dennis Prager on Lies, Season 17. Dennis Prager is known for inflammatory rhetoric on his radio show. Not even a real-time panel could rein him in when Maher brought up then-President Trump's rates of false statements in an overtime after show.
He does lie. You would agree with that.
Prager stunned everyone by agreeing with the study, only to accuse the left wing of making larger partisan lies. He shouted over any retort to his argument that the United States is the least racist country in the world.
This is the least racist, multicultural, multi-ethnic country in the history of the world.
His monologue then veered into the topic of men menstruating. Maher tried to focus the ensuing transphobic rant into a real debate, but Prager ironically couldn't fully support his statements. This absurdity completely tickled Maher, but some saw Prager as a blow to the show's honest discourse.
Okay, all right, moving on to the next. Dennis, I remember you in the old show, you were a little more reasonable.
Number 7, Steve Bannon, Seasons 16 and 18. Bill Maher cordially welcomed Steve Bannon as another conservative to engage in a spirited debate in 2018. But the former Breitbart News executive and Trump strategist isn't just another conservative. The one-on-one interview steadily erupted over the guest's defense of the president who fired and discredited him.
That's absurd.
But you didn't think you'd get fired.
Maher was more frustrated by Bannon's defense of such fringe supporters as Russian apologists and white supremacists.
I don't think you really think they're the racists and not your people.
This was echoed in a follow-up interview in 2020 when Maher offended Bannon by suggesting a racial double standard in how he views Obama and Trump's policies. He even ended the chat by remarking,
I wish we had someone on our side as evil as you.
Clearly, Bannon's question dodging and defensiveness tested Maher's spirit in both debates. Number 6, Andrew Cuomo, Season 21. 2 years after resigning as governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo and his former chief of staff Melissa DeRosa opened up about his sexual assault allegations on Real Time. Maher straddled indulging and questioning the allegations while making light of younger generation's sensitivity to physical contact. Cuomo was not particularly amused. He was visibly unnerved as he deconstructed the overreaches of cancel culture.
This cancel culture, it's a loaded gun. And they can use it against anyone, anytime, even for their self-interest.
He didn't have much to say on the more solid claims of impropriety that Maher brought up. It was a wry takedown of 2 generations' behavior. It sure wasn't the blowout usually associated with Real Time's more awkward moments.
He could have said, you know what, I went through this. Let's take a deep breath and actually get the facts.
But Cuomo sifting through Maher's mix of empathetic and gotcha journalism made for a suspenseful interview.
But defund the police were the 3 dumbest words ever uttered by the Democratic Party.
Number 5, Jim Jefferies versus Piers Morgan, Season 15. English conservative commentator Piers Morgan can get confrontational in his views. Australian comedian Jim Jefferies is an equally unapologetic. if less couth progressive. When they met on a real-time panel in 2017, it was the President of the United States who set them off. Morgan praised colleague Donald Trump's policies and argued that his travel ban on Muslims was exaggerated by critics. Jefferies immediately and profanely tore into Morgan, accusing him of bias and ignorance of creeping fascism.
You just like that you won The Apprentice and you have a famous friend.
Between Morgan's condescension and Jefferies' obscene gestures, Maher had to step in. It was a fraught incident for both notorious provocateurs. Still, Jefferies got the last word when the audience disputed his rival's claim that his fervor undermined his message.
Am I losing it?
Number 4. Ejecting Protesters, Season 5. The studio audience for Real Time can get as heated as any guest. Bill Maher is usually good with the crowd, but was pushed too far in 2007. Almost a month after he bashed conspiracy theories that 9/11 was an inside job, so-called 9/11 truthers infiltrated his audience to stage a protest.
Boy, sometimes here at CBS, I wish the sound wasn't working.
As they disrupted a panel with heckles and a banner, a livid Maher ordered security. His swearing was audible even after he tore off his microphone.
Hey, do we have some security in this building? Or do I have to come over and kick this guy's ass?
Everyone in the studio applauded as guards and the host himself dragged the hecklers out through the back. Maher can handle a debate with the most controversial views, but this incident showed his intolerance of an unfair fight.
I'll kick your ass out of here, too.
Number 3. Christopher Hitchens versus the Audience, Season 4. Despite public intellectual Christopher Hitchens' friendship with Bill Maher, the war on terror was a sore spot during his many appearances on Real Time. It was an especially tenuous panel in 2006 when Hitchens charged Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad with pursuing a third world war. As Maher snickered that George Bush had the same vision, his audience roared.
Who's looking for a war here?
So does George Bush, by the way.
President Bush has said.
Hitchens responded by cursing them out and flashing a middle finger. He repeated his put-down of the audience later in the debate. The brief incident became a scandalous touchstone in Real Time's lore.
You know, when I think this is now the joke that stupid people laugh at.
Hitchens made 4 more appearances and was poignantly honored by Maher after his passing in 2011. Still, his tenure didn't always help his reputation as a debater.
None of whom are smarter than the president.
Number 2. Ben Affleck and Islamophobia, Season 12. Outspoken anti-theist Bill Maher has been accused of specifically Islamophobic statements. Philosopher and writer Sam Harris has faced the same accusations. In 2014, the two united on a real-time panel to discuss contemporary liberalism's failure to condemn Islamic dogma. Actor Ben Affleck angrily asserted that an attack on the religion, not just its radical fringes, is often an attack on the Muslim people.
So hold on, are you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam?
Harris and Maher boldly stated that radical Islam was not fringe. Affleck continuously intervened while specialists on his side of the panel anxiously debated.
Or how about the more than a billion people who aren't fanatical?
The 10-minute-long argument went viral, reviving popular discourse about the Islamic world and prejudice towards Muslims. Important or not, this feud is widely considered a blemish on a real-time style of discourse.
I'm specifically telling you that I disagree with what you think.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Milo Yiannopoulos, Season 15. There's growing concern that Real Time with Bill Maher promotes extreme political demagogues. Some say it's actually diminished the likes of alt-right commentator Milo Yiannopoulos. His 2017 solo interview was awkward enough for Maher trying to maintain common ground on free speech.
For a guy who loves free speech, you've picked a weird boyfriend.
No. When Yiannopoulos joined the overtime panel, he unleashed his views in astonishing hate speech. This led to a nasty confrontation with comedic commentator Larry Wilmore.
If your argument is that these people are stupid, you didn't hear a word this man said.
The rest of the segment was filled with tension surrounding the provocateur. Maher ostensibly counted on this. He justified booking Yiannopoulos by claiming the platform revealed the folly of his extremist views. While other controversies at the time mostly drove the former Breitbart editor into obscurity, some good can come from Real Time getting too real.
Are you American?
No, he's not American.
Off.
Which Real Time with Bill Maher standoffs stand out for you? Join our civil panel in the comments.
Can he have some thoughts?
I don't know, can he? You tell me.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.